Today, Bob Mueller showed he will indict lies to Congress, and that may be bad news for Roger Stone because his associate Jerome Corsi admitted on the beat just last night that Stone lied to Congress with his help. Now, that interview obviously made a lot of headlines when you admit something like that. Those are some of the articles that came out of last night's interview. Let me show you an important point from last night. How did they react to this other defense that you made on behalf of Roger Stone, which is you agreed to help Roger mislead Congress about how he found out about Podesta?
Well, see, in fact, that was the first. There's two rounds of this that I went through. Round one, I openly discussed that with him and admitted it all because it was true. I was telling the truth.
You were telling him the truth about a lie?
No. Well, okay, so yes.
Well, yes. Seth Waxman, former federal prosecutor, is here. You hear Corsi there say yes. He implicates Stone in a lie to Congress to the grand jury. What does that mean for Roger Stone?
Well, it could mean very bad things. I mean, if you lie to Congress, you could be implicated with perjury and obstruction of justice. And this all might be a tool of part of this Russian conspiracy and trying to get the the dirt on Hillary out into the public atmosphere.
Usually when these witnesses go to the grand jury, we don't hear a ton more from them. What we heard last night from Corsi, whatever one thinks of it, reflects what Mueller already put before the grand jury. Did he put it there so he can charge Stone with it?
Yeah, I think that's definitely part of the plan. Stone seems to play a huge role in this idea of a quid pro quo and the dirt on Hillary getting out into the public atmosphere. And if it was used by Trump to kind of distance himself and use some of his associates to put that out there as part of this quid pro quo, then yeah, that could be a very, very big part of it.
So that goes to Stone's liability. Then there's the larger question of President Trump's liability. I pressed Mr. Corsi on whether all of this dirt and intel that they got that proved to be right about the stolen emails was going to be passed back to Donald Trump. Take a look. You would expect he would tell Trump rather than keep that from Trump.
When I figured out it was Podesta, I told Stone, and I told about everybody I knew, and I knew it would help Donald Trump, and I was happy to do that. I was speculating, but I was sure I was right.
Is it accurate to say you expected Roger to tell Trump?
I didn't. Look, logically, should I have expected it? Yes, of course.
Yeah. Of course. So there you have him saying, yeah, all this action was to give Donald Trump, the candidate, secret early intel on what Assange was doing. How bad would that be for Trump?
Well, it could be very bad if at the same time this dirt and getting it out into the public was taking place, Trump was also making promises to the Russians that he would reduce or eliminate sanctions against Russian oligarchs. Then you have the classic quid pro quo. And again, that, Corsi and Stone being arms of that illegal transaction.
Right. So that could be a thing of value that Trump actually gets.
Correct.
Third and finally,
yes, he
brought up pardons. Take a look.
I'm not counting on Donald Trump for anything, including a pardon. That's not the basis on which I made my decision.
But I didn't ask you about the pardon. Well, you're bringing up a pardon.
I'm bringing it up because I want to make it clear that I don't expect one.
Would you accept a pardon?
No. Well, accept a pardon is hypothetical.
How did you read that exchange?
He had a hard time saying that last part, didn't he? I mean, if he were to get a pardon, he's definitely going to take it. And all these individuals seem to be floating the idea to the president, hey, I'm looking out for you. Please look out for me at some point in time. So, sure, he wants a pardon.
And even Nixon didn't float pardons publicly this early.
Well, right. And it seems that Trump seems to think by doing it out in the open, somehow it doesn't make it criminal. And, there's something to that. We think if we heard that on a wire, we'd all be sitting back as prosecutors saying, holy cow, look what we just heard. But the fact that he does it on NBC or some other, news network, we all think, well, maybe there's nothing wrong with it.
You make such another great point there, and that's a bizarre part of all of this, which is the televised Twitter aspect of it, which we're all obviously living through, does appear to, in their view, hopefully launder bad things that if they were on the Watergate tapes, you'd say, oh, my God, there's the smoking gun. Seth Waxman, thank you very much.